I'm sitting at my desk for 8 hours in work mode. I have a task to do, and I flip to another tab in my browser or over to Slack or my emails to find a specific message that has the information I need to move forward. But I notice something else while I'm there, and it sends me down a rabbit hole. And then I'm lost. I forget what I was originally doing, and my whole rhythm gets broken. That happens many times a day, every day. My working memory just gives out. The regularity of it means my progress and my flow are stunted so often, and I get to the end of the day and nothing feels done. This definitely doesn't feel like normal forgetting. It's not like I forgot the vacation I took with a friend 15 years ago. What's going on? I lose my train of thought mid-sentence. It happens so often that I start to recognize that I don't enjoy the fruit of compounded progress that other people do. Everything is transactional, and I want more for myself. This video is part of a series where I'm mapping out how the ADHD brain actually works. It's my point of view, and this particular video is about working memory. I used to think of working memory as somewhere information was stored. Either I remembered something or I forgot it. But working memory isn't really storage in that sense. It's more of an active workspace where information is kept available for immediate use. However, that holding can feel like an activity in itself. When I'm searching for a data point that I know lives in an email or somewhere buried in my files, it requires effort to remember what I was doing before. These transitions create a barrier to holding my thoughts. Reaching out for more information or pausing to reflect, these small transitions feel cognitively demanding. So when I'm trying to remember a thought, and I also have to manage a transition, like looking for information in a document, I often lose the thread. As soon as something else comes along, I don't have the ability to keep it there. It's like I'm putting something on a very weak table, and one more object will make the table fall apart. The object itself isn't particularly heavy. It's that the system to hold it up is particularly weak. The part that actively manages what I'm holding, what needs my attention, and what has to happen next. In that moment, it's a bit like the spinning wheel of death when your computer locks up, when you're doing something resource heavy and it just starts spinning and gets stuck. There's a brief second where you feel like you might lose it, and then it can become unclear what to do next. Sometimes the introduction of the new idea is just all that remains. The prior thing you were doing is completely gone. It never existed until 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes later, and then you realize, oh wait, I was doing this other thing. It takes me a while to remember. I have to dig through and trace back my steps to remember what I was doing, or look for physical evidence of what I was doing to get back there. Sometimes I just pause and stop thinking and wait for it to pop into my head. It's a real puzzle to get back to it. The distraction may be what pulls my attention away, but the working memory problem is that when I look back, the original thought isn't sufficiently there anymore. The active management system hasn't been able to keep holding it while something else competes for the same space. Sometimes I try harder to hold onto it, forcing maintenance of the original thought by constantly and consciously reintroducing it into my mind, because I'm holding an awareness that it could slip away. But that's another element of effort required. It's energy my brain isn't always able to maintain alongside actually keeping the thought and moving it forward. The thing I try to do is hold it in my mind as a perpetual reminder of what I'm doing. If I don't maintain conscious awareness of the holding itself, it drops out of my hands. It does help a little bit because if I try really hard to focus on not losing the thing, I can sometimes hold it. But it's not consistently helpful, and it usually requires more energy than the help it produces. And ultimately, the try harder method doesn't address the underlying scaffolding issue. I'm just fighting against it. It's almost like the scaffolding issue still persists, but then I'm compensating for it by putting the original thought in a balloon and constantly blowing the balloon in the air so it doesn't fall on the ground and pop. It's a completely different way of holding the thought, but it doesn't really earn its keep in terms of the benefit it produces. It's a really inefficient way of fixing the problem. So trying harder can sometimes improve what happens in that particular moment, but it doesn't repair the underlying difficulty. I'm still using extra effort to compensate for a system that isn't reliably holding the thought on its own. This experience is real, and it has nothing to do with intelligence. It's not a moral failing, and it's very common among people with ADHD. Like many compensations in life, the small tricks help us muster through, until they don't. There's a point where we become too experienced or our jobs become too complex for the small tricks to carry us through. What helped me blunder along at one stage may not be enough for the life or work I'm trying to manage now. Understanding this has come from studying psychology at the master's level, studying ADHD specifically, talking to my own ADHD coach, and trying to understand the problem from a scientific perspective and also an experiential one. But understanding it intellectually doesn't mean I've figured it out 100% for myself. I'm still working through this on my side. The difference is that I can stop judging myself based on my inability to do it consistently. It's not for a lack of trying, and it's not for a lack of wanting to perform. The answer isn't to demand more effort from the same overloaded system. I don't have this fully solved. I haven't worked out one clean answer for myself, but there are things that I do. Saying the thought out loud to myself, physical markers like sticky notes, something to physically bring my mind back, scribbling a note on a notepad, even just writing it down helps stick the thought in, like a kind of cognitive rehearsal. Telling a coworker or a partner, hang on, I'm holding a thought. Also emailing myself, putting things in my calendar as a reminder. Some of these are for future reference, not for holding a thought mid-sentence, but they're scaffolding I put up around myself. This means that what I believe is important doesn't have to survive entirely through force of will. I know I'll encounter it again in my world, and I can prioritize it when I'm actually in a prioritizing mindset. The principle underneath all of this is getting the thing out of my head before something else competes for the space, or rehearsing it enough times that it sticks a little bit better. I put together a document called the Activation Toolkit with 5 tools for getting started. One of them is specifically about getting the task out of your head so you're not using working memory just to keep hold of what you're trying to do. There's a link in the description and pinned in the comments. And in the next video, we'll discuss the third topic in our series, execution. See you next time.